I incorporated what my clients are going through into my theory, and that is how I birthed this class. So my clients' problems plus a theory that I wrote years ago from watching American Gods. And this is a metaphysics class, everybody. And we're going to start with the age of frequency. If y'all did download the class materials that I posted a couple of days ago. Sorry, I had to clear the energy before we get started. Let me light a candle. Let's do yellow today. Bring some joy into y'all's life, whoever's on the live today. Hey, Clarice. Or is it Charisse? Who else I missed? I'm sorry. I wasn't even looking at the screen. Hi, Jelani. James. Dimples. Okay. It's 6:56. I'm going to go ahead and read the class rules before we get started. I think I have one moderator in here, Mr. Okay, I do. One. Wow, I got one. Thank y'all for liking the live. Haven't even started yet. I appreciate that. It's pronounced like the soap brand. Oh, caress. Oh, okay. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so before we get started, I want to lay out a few ground rules to keep the space respectful, open, and focused on learning. Please note, this class is designed for beginners, so everything will be explained in a clear and accessible way. Advanced questions are welcome, but I ask that we honor the pace of the room. The first rule is this is based on my experience. Everything I'm sharing comes from my personal journey, my studies, my mentors, my retreats, and my own research. Take what resonates with you and what doesn't, leave it where it is. And this particular class is actually one of my theories that I turned into a class. Number 2, respect different perspectives. Everyone's spiritual path is unique. What works for one person may not work for another, and that's okay. This is a space for learning, not debating or invalidating someone else's beliefs. Had to drink some tea. Number 3, keep the chat positive and respectful. Disrespect, negativity, or trolling won't be tolerated. If you can't engage with an open mind, this may not be the space for you, and you will be removed if you are disrespectful. Number 4, no unsolicited advice or corrections unless I ask for input. Please allow me to teach without interruptions or corrections. If you have a different approach, that's beautiful. This class is centered around what works for me. The only exception to this rule is at the end of the live, you can input whatever you want to. Teach me whatever you want to. Number 5, no gatekeeping or one right way of thinking. Spiritual work is diverse and traditions vary. There is no single correct way to do anything. Only what is true and effective for you. Engage, learn, and enjoy. Ask questions, take notes, and be present. You may want to write down your questions as we go because I will be pausing between each section to answer them. This is an interactive space for growth and understanding and a deeper connection to your work. So, in this class, we're going to be talking about digital Ashe. Whether you are a seasoned practitioner, newly awakened, or just curious about how to involve your power in the modern world, this is the right space for you. tonight's class isn't just about magic, it's about evolution, frequency, and responsibility. We're gathered here because the world has changed, as y'all know. How we communicate has changed, how energy flows has changed. And because magic is actually alive, it's a living entity. It has its own Ashe, it is pure energy. It too has changed. But what hasn't changed is the need for intention, integrity, and Ashe. Hey, Kev. This conversation is for everyone, so no matter what tradition, culture, or practice, while I do walk in the practice of hoodoo and the African American spiritual lineage, this teaching will speak to energy workers, witches, root workers, conjurers, brujas, technomagics, that's what they're called, and mystics of all kind. So if you are an energy worker or a technomage, this class is going to be really, really, really good for you. If you give readings online, this class is going to be good for you. If you do any type of spiritual work online, like you post your altars, things like that, you're going to want to be in this class. So we're not here to divide the new and the old school, tradition versus technology, because that's a myth. The real truth lives in the adaptation. So the ancestors didn't survive by staying the same. They evolved, especially in hoodoo. It's based around evolution and adaptation. They used the tools that they had, and in today's world, one of the biggest tools we have is digital frequency. We're going to learn how to move with it, protect ourselves inside of it, and preserve our spiritual authenticity while expanding our reach. So, we're going to be talking about digital Ashe. That's what I call it. Keep in mind that this is a theory. Please don't take anything that I say as absolute truth, even though I have actually tested some of these things that I want to teach you out tonight. I said that backwards. Some of the things that I'm going to teach you tonight, I have actually tested out before, and it worked. So, this is a theory that I actually tested. So we're going to start with section 1 I'm going to be talking about old power in the new world. And I want you to know, even though I'm teaching this, I want y'all to still honor traditional, what we call traditional magic, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to talk about the age of frequency. This is where we're going to start. Okay. So the age of frequency refers to the current era of human evolution, and this is where we are right here, the definition, where spiritual power in, hold on just a second, Jeremiah, you're screaming too loud. I don't care. My bad, my son was screaming at the TV. So, where was I at? Thank you. Where was I at? Okay, so I was telling you the definition of the age of frequency. And I'm going to show you a book that y'all can get to learn about this too. So remind me at the end of the class to show y'all the book. So I'm just going to start over. So the age of frequency refers to the current era of human evolution where spiritual power, influence, and connection are increasingly carried through vibration, sound, signal, and digital transmission. Rather than just physical or ritual or spoken word, in this age, everything emits a frequency, which it did anyway in the old age as well. So your voice, what I'm talking about specifically is your voice, your presence online, your emotions, your thoughts, and those frequencies can be felt, shared, manipulated, and magnified across space and time without ever needing physical contact now because of the digital age. So in metaphysical science, frequency is a measurable vibration. This is where we are. Literally, the rate at which energy moves. That's what frequency is. In spiritual terms, frequency is your electric signature, which I talk about a lot in all of our other classes, because I told you that your body actually does emit an EM field. So what you emit and what you attract is based on your frequency. If you know about the law of attraction, it's similar to that. The age of frequency is about recognizing that energy travels faster and further than ever before, because we've built highways for it. And when I'm talking about highways, I'm saying the internet, social media, sound waves, light codes, and algorithms are the highways for energy now. Your Ashe no longer just moves through candles and prayer. It moves through reels, reposts, likes, shares, and streams. This era challenges us to become more intentional, because everything we create, rather in silence or on the screen, carries a frequency that touches someone else. And in this new age, your spiritual effectiveness is determined not by how loud you are, but how clean, direct, and potent your frequency is. So, we're going to talk about algorithms in a spiritual way. I'm just curious, does anybody actually know what an algorithm is? I know you hear that word a lot, but do you know what it is? Besides this, don't look at that. That's the spiritual definition. So don't cheat. What do y'all think an algorithm is? I'm curious to know if anybody knows. Yep, that is right. That is right. In science and mathematics, an algorithm is a precise, step-by-step set of instructions or rules designed to perform a task or solve a problem. And it is a code, yes. It is digital problem. All of y'all are right. Y'all just saying it in different ways. Yes. Algorithms are the backbone of computer systems and digital platforms. So every time you search for something online, scroll your feed, or stream a video, you're interacting with a complex network of algorithms that analyze your behavior and predict what you want to see next. These formulas are based on logic, patterns, inputs, and data, and they evolve with each interaction. So every time your intention changes, so does your algorithm. Remember that. Hello, Geraldine. What's up, Chief? I noticed through AI when I'm studying some spiritual things. What do you mean by that? Your frequency moves. What? So, let's get to the spiritual definition of algorithms. So, spiritually, and keep in mind that this is a definition that I created. So, do not take this as absolute truth. This is a theory that I came up with. So, spiritually, an algorithm is a living, energetic system that mirrors the law of cause and effect. I talk about the law of cause and effect almost every single live. It responds to intention, thank you, intention, repetition, alignment, and pattern, just like the universe. In the digital world, algorithms act like modern-day spirits and energetic entities. They reward what is repeated, magnify what is emotionally charged, and respond to offerings in the form of likes, clicks, hashtags, and shares. If y'all can't follow along, let me know, and I will repeat this, because this is kind of complicated. I couldn't simplify it. They are frequency-based gatekeepers. So, amplifying someone's energy while suppressing others based on vibration, consistency, and digital behavior. Did anybody have any questions about the spiritual definition? And then if I can even make it simpler, you can look at the algorithm like a coded spirit. That's basically what I'm saying. It's a spirit that changes based on what you put into it, what you offer it, is what I'm saying. So, a coded spirit can either work against you or work with you. And that's what I'm going to teach you today. How to do this positively instead of, I'm going to get to it. Because I'm going to teach you this, but if you use this, it can lead to spiritual psychosis if you are not careful. And I'm going to go over that too. So let me go back because I'll start jumping around if I don't go in order. So it can work for you or against you depending on how intentionally you interact with it. It doesn't judge right or wrong. It simply reflects your patterns. This is why coding your energy into your post using spiritual timing and infusing intention into your digital presence is so important in this modern practice. And they call themselves technomagics. Keep in mind, when I wrote this theory, I did not know that actually existed until I actually met some technomagics, and I used some of the things that they taught me, and it actually works. So before we begin reshaping how we work with magic in this digital age, we must begin with clarity. I want to bring up traditional magic because I don't want anybody to think that I'm shitting on old magic, and I'm not. So nothing about traditional spiritual work has stopped working. That's not what we're talking about here. The spirits have not gone silent. The elements have not lost their voice. The power behind ancestral ritual is still alive. It's still active and just as potent today as it is ever, especially with so many of us waking up. The only thing that has changed is the environment. The internet did not exist when our ancestors created these practices. So the medium, the method, the delivery, everything is changing now, and you have to keep up with the world. So the world around us has evolved, and with it, the current that energy rides on is changing every day. Magic is not obsolete. It has simply entered into a new landscape. So when we talk about traditional magic, whether practicing in a rootworker's home, passed through indigenous ceremony, or church pews, it's still rooted in relationship. It came from the land, the body, the ancestors, the elements, from spirit. It worked through touch, through time, through observation. When you light a candle, it was in alignment with the moon cycles or raising sun. When you prayed over someone's name, it was done with breath, oil, witnesses. Your offerings had weight, not just physically but spiritually, because you were in sync with the world around you. That is traditional magic, building a relationship with the world around you. None of that power has disappeared. What has changed is that we now live in a world that's layered with new energetic systems that did not exist back then. So frequencies, signals, light, sound, and code is what I'm talking about. These currents weren't available to our ancestors in the same form, but energy is still energy. Remember that. And energy responds to direction. We are no longer working with, some of us are no longer working with earth, fire, air, water, and some of us are no longer working with earth, fire, air, water, and spirit. And this is the energy workers and the technomagics. We are now also moving through bandwidth, data transfer, digital light, and algorithmic, I cannot say that word, flow. That doesn't negate the old. It simply means we must learn how to carry that sacred fire to a new medium and how to do it safely. And this is where science meets spirit. I talk about the law of vibration all of the time. It tells us that everything in existence moves. Every sound, every image, every thought, every intention produces a wave, produces a frequency. Your voice carries a frequency. Your digital content does too. When you record a video or speak into a mic, you are imprinting your energy onto a wave that can now reach across the globe. You may not be laying hands or placing dirt under a doorstep, but you are still casting energy. It just travels through different means now. And then when we get to the law of correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without, it teaches you that the micro reflects the macro. So the inside reflects the outside, is what it's saying. Your inner world mirrors your outer work. In the past, a practitioner would carefully set their altar before performing a working. Today, that same sacred alignment must be brought into your phone, your camera, your timeline. Your captions can be prayers. Your voice notes can be spells. And I want to show y'all some examples of this later. Your posts can be sealed, blessed, and warded. I'm going to go over that too. Ashe still moves. It just flows through a different terrain. And to carry your Ashe into this new world, you must first understand that power is not in the tool. It's in the transmission. I keep telling y'all all the time, the power is inside of y'all. Everything else is just tools. Our ancestors used what they had: honey, coal dust, graveyard dirt, red brick, psalms, fire. We now have other tools: apps, speakers, lenses, and codes. These are not inherently spiritual, but they are energetically active. And once your Ashe moves through them with purpose, they can become magical vessels, which is what I'm going to teach you in this class, how to do that. Your Ashe can live in a video. It can ride the sound of your voice in a reel. It can embed itself in your writing, in a song, in stories. If you treat these outputs with the same care and attention that you would give to a spiritual bath or a dressed candle, they will carry power. The medium is new, but the magic still remains the same. What we must now learn is how to protect ourselves. And the biggest part of this class is learning how to protect yourselves, because that's the issue a lot of my clients have been coming to me with recently. Like maybe the past 6 people that I talked to were saying that they feel drained after giving readings and things online. So that is why I created this class. So old power, I just want y'all to remember, the old power is still the same. I'm just teaching y'all a new medium to use the old power. I don't want y'all to think that I'm telling you not to use traditional magic, and I'm not. So we're going to talk about, you're welcome. Thank you. Too lovely. Hey, Tia. Hey, cousin. Taking notes. Good. Okay. Did anybody have any questions before I move to section 2? Hey, Ermi. Before I move to section 2. Hey, Ermi. I didn't miss anything. I just did the introduction. So we're about to start the class now. You pinned a comment. Oh, okay. Okay, so we're about to actually start the class now. And if you have not been to my page, if you go to my page, I have all of the class materials, and I turned everything that's on this board plus more information is on my page. You can download it, the photos, but I have the full definitions of these, as well as tools and other things that you might want to know if you like to keep notes. So the arrival of the internet didn't destroy spirituality. It just transformed how energy is exchanged. In this new landscape, the altar is no longer just in your home, it's on your phone. I know people who actually live with judgmental people, and so they have their altar live with judgmental people, and so they have their altar on their phone. They have a notepad with all the pictures, the psalms, all of that, because they can't have pictures and things around, or candles, stuff like that. So there are people who actually have their altar on their phone. It's in your feed, embedded in your post. When the internet arrived, it introduced a new energetic highway, one that actually moves faster, broadcasts wider, and holds memory in a different way. That shift changed not just how we communicate, but how we channel, witness, and experience magic itself. Before digital platforms, sacredness was often guarded. Teachings were oral, so you learn by word of mouth, earned and preserved through ritual, not spectacle. But now visibility has often replaced sacredness. To more, the more public a ritual becomes, the more it risks becoming diluted. Remember that. Not because it isn't real, but because the sacred requires boundaries, and there are no boundaries on the internet. So visibility over sacredness is the trade-off many don't recognize they're making. Sharing so much of the process that power leaks before the work is even sealed, which I went over in our last class. Be careful what you post. Yes, you can use the internet to your advantage, but just be careful what you post and when you post it. We've also seen performance over prayer take root. This is when spiritual acts have become content. So algorithms reward dynamics, not depth. But energy doesn't lie. Real Ashe doesn't need to be announced. It moves in silence and leaves results behind. When people begin altering their rituals to appeal to viewers instead of spirits, they begin feeding the platform rather than feeding the divine. So what I mean by this is I'm telling you all of the things not to do before I get into what you can do. There are practitioners who change certain rituals to make it look prettier, or they take out the sacrifice, or they take out elements that you cannot post online. So they're basically posting a watered down version of what the actual ritual is supposed to look like to be more appealing. That's what I mean when performance over prayer. Then this leads us to the truth of the algorithm over the altar. In traditional practice, the altar was the center of spiritual gravity. It holds offerings, prayers, and personal sacrifice. Now, many unknowingly, a lot of people do all of this stuff unknowingly, not knowing that they're doing it, make their engagement metrics their new altar. They refresh for validation, adjust their practices for visibility, and unknowingly submit their Ashe to a digital spirit, which I call the algorithm. I feel like it's a spirit. So the algorithm is not evil, it's responsive. But when you let it lead your spiritual path, you're being coded, not called. So you're letting the algorithm code you if you are posting just to get put on the algorithm instead of posting to build your algorithm. And yet, despite these shifts, digital platforms have indeed become part of the practice, for better or worse. They have allowed for mass healing. This is the positive side. Spiritual education is now available to people who it would have never been available to if the internet didn't exist. Connection, so we're building communities online, and exposure that would have taken lifetimes for you to be exposed to. You get exposed quickly now. They have brought elders, seekers, and teachers together across the borders. I have people who I talk to in different countries, different backgrounds, different spiritual beliefs. I learn from a lot of people who are overseas, and I wouldn't be able to do that without the internet. But that's the positive. There are negatives to the internet, like energetic theft, which we're going to go over, voyeurism. There are negatives to the internet, like energetic theft, which we're going to go over, voyeurism, spiritual mimicry, we're going to go over that, and angel-led offering. You use them will determine if you build something sacred or you're siphoning something vital. So we're going to go into defining the spiritual currents. Anybody have any questions before we move on to these definitions? And just to give you an overview of everything we're going to go over, this class is not long at all. And just to give you an overview of everything we're going to go over, this class is not long at all. We'll probably finish before 9 o'clock. But I'm going to basically teach y'all how to adapt your magic to the digital age. How you can use it to your advantage. By teaching you how energy moves differently. But I'm also going to teach you how to protect yourself from people who use your influence to siphon from you. I'm going to teach you how to recognize it and how to protect yourself from it. And then I'm going to go over some practices that you can do. I'm not going to tell you exactly how to do it. You are going to have to fill in the blanks because some stuff you just don't teach online publicly. But I am going to go over some examples. And then the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to teach you how to protect yourself while you're on the internet teaching. And then if I have time, I'll tell you guys a story about how I tried out some of this stuff and it worked. So, will this be recorded? Yes. It will be on my Patreon. That was the altar and the phone. Yes. On my page, I actually posted how you can build an altar in your phone. It's in my the altar class, the ancestor and altar class I did. It's under that stuff. So to navigate this new age of magic, you have to understand that the spiritual currents flowing around you. Just like a root worker needs to know the difference between a sweetening jar and a shut-up jar, I'm going to call it a shut-up jar. A modern practitioner must be able to discern the forces moving through online spaces. This means building a new kind of vocabulary, one that acknowledges how energy, spirit, and technology have merged. These terms aren't just trendy. They're just technomagick does exist. I made this one up because I didn't know what to call it. I made this one up because I didn't know what to call it. And I made this one up too because I didn't know what to call it. Technomagick is an actual definition. Energy mimicry is a definition as well. And I also made up clout work because I didn't know what to call it. So, technomagick is the use of modern technology as a conduit for magical work. And this is where we get into technomages. They actually exist. This includes using smartphones, computers, sound systems, apps, and even digital code as spiritual tools. The same way a candle can hold intention, so can a microphone. A working doesn't stop being a working just because it's typed out instead of spoken. It's about the intention behind the tool. So an example of this is, think of someone who records affirmations, sets them to a specific auto frequency, and uploads them as a video timed to planetary hours. And yes, people do actually do this. That is technomagick. The tech becomes the altar. The upload becomes the offering. The screen becomes the mirror. So then we get to digital frequency magic. It refers to working with the actual electromagnetic fields and vibrations that power digital spaces. This includes Wi-Fi, sound waves, Bluetooth signals, and energetic impact of images, videos, and tones online. This is not symbolic. I'm talking about literally online. This is not symbolic. I'm talking about literally. Everything digital rides on a wave, and that wave carries energy. Yes, sound frequency is one of them. So an example of this, a practitioner might loop a sacred chant layering with uh, certain frequencies designed to entrain the brain, and posted it as a high engagement hour to influence the emotional energy of a community. That's not just sound. Excuse me. That's energetic targeting through frequency flow. So have y'all ever, I think I'm going to post an example of this, but there are practitioners that post the same thing on a loop. You think the video is about to keep going, but you end up watching it 2 or 3 times before you realize it's actually repeating itself. That's what I'm talking about. Algorithmal magic is the practice of engaging with social media algorithms as if they are living energetic entities, because in a way they actually are. Algorithms feed off of intention, attention, emotions, repetition, and behavior. They respond to what is offered, and they reward consistency, sacrifice, which is time, and energy, engagement. The more that you engage with your algorithm, the better it will be. An example of this is someone creates a spiritual series. And this is one that I actually do. I actually do this myself. So someone creates a spiritual series and times each post with trending keywords and audios while tracking engagement patterns to maintain visibility. The algorithm becomes their spirit guide, but it's a demanding one. They're not just working for their audience, they're feeding the algorithm. That's why. And so what I mean by this is certain videos or series that I do, I post at a certain time, and I post the next one maybe exactly 3 minutes and 33 seconds later. Things like that. You're actually coding your algorithm. And then the way that you see your high peak hours, if you don't know how TikTok works, you can actually go look and see, not TikTok, but Facebook. I don't know if TikTok can do it because I really am not well versed in TikTok yet. But on Facebook, you can go look and see when your high peak hours are and when the best time is to post. And then you can actually use numerology to post, and it actually works. Like if you are posting something, this is a cheat code. If you are posting something that you're trying to make money off of, maybe a bracelet or something like that, you can post it exactly at exactly 8 minutes and 88 seconds, I believe. After, I'm gonna have to go look at my notes because this is something a technomagick gave me, and so I just follow his directions. I think it was 8 minutes and 88 seconds exactly, and it ended up being 9 minutes and something. And I posted it when he told me to post it. After that peak hours, 8 minutes and 88 seconds after the peak hour, and the bracelet sold as soon as I posted it. Like, no lie. Whatever I can't do it because I'm not a technomage, but he's extremely intelligent, and so he told me to do that, and I sold the bracelet as soon as it posted. So it worked. And so he told me to do that, and I sold the bracelet as soon as it posted. So it worked. So then we get to cyber Ashe work. It is the fusion of ancestry. I want to show you how to use your Ashe to navigate the digital world. So Ashe, as you know, is your spiritual power. Your command is your life force. Cyber Ashe work is when you intentionally embed your power into digital content. And that is what the class is about. I'm giving you these other definitions so y'all know what they are. And this is captions, videos, music, photos, even your username. Your energy is coded into what you create, and it moves through the screen with just as much power as it would in person. It's just faster because you're using the internet. If you are conscious of it when you do all of this stuff intentionally. An example of this is a healer posts a prayer video they recorded while they were at their ancestral altar. The words were written after divination. The song playing is tied to spirit. The Ashe is carried through every part of the post. That's not just content. That's cyber Ashe work. What I'm calling cyber Ashe work until I find a better name. And you get engagement that way. You get paid that way. Or you get more people following you that way. And then we're going to go over energy mimicry, which is a lot of that is going on now. It's when something looks powerful, but it isn't. This is when people copy the look, the language, or the vibe of a real spiritual practitioner. But they're not actually a practitioner. Hold on. I forgot to plug my phone up, y'all. Again. But this is when you get into people who dress up like spiritualists, but they actually aren't. And then people actually start to believe them. They gain a bunch of followers, and they use the energy of their followers to keep the momentum going until people actually believe that they are spiritualists. People are paying them money to do work. They're buying their products, and the whole time it's somebody who's dressed up as a spiritualist, and they're using engagement and followers to boost themselves. That is energy mimicry. Energy mimicry can be dangerous because it draws attention, but it lacks the actual anchoring. This is when basically lies and fake spiritual truths are spread at a mass level because this person has so many followers, and people believe in this person because they have so many followers, not because their information is actually legitimate. It's because of their follower account that they think that it's true. And that can get dangerous too, because those type of people are spiritual vampires. They can actually siphon your energy every time you engage with their lies. Exactly. It spreads like a virus. I'm going to have to add that to this class. And that's when we get into clout work versus spiritual work. So clout work and spiritual work is an actual term. I just made up clout work. I didn't know what to call it. It's a phrase that I'm going to use to describe the difference between spiritual work that's done for visibility and praise, which is clout, versus work that's done for healing and alignment and divine direction. So clout work is performative. It's curated for an audience. Spirit work is quiet, messy, real. It's often unseen. The problem is that in the digital age, clout can look like spirit until it doesn't. Clout work is perfect. Okay. I'll keep that one then. But I'm definitely changing that to something else. I don't know what yet. So, an example of this is a reader pulls a card live every single day. Not because Spirit told them to, but because the engagement is dropping. Or they start some beef with somebody online because their engagement is dropping. They post ancestor veneration clips only during cultural holidays, but you never see it any other time. Hey, Jose. Their works feels disconnected from real transformation. On the other hand, someone else might post once a week, but their content carries a deep frequency, reveals true downloads, and aligns with divine timing. One is cloud work, the other is spiritual work. By giving these energies names, I wanted to give it power to, so you'll be able to recognize them when you do see it, because there are technomagics out there. You might run into one teaching on TikTok. That's how I found out that they actually exist, through TikTok. You can also gain the clarity to choose your own path with wisdom. So magic is evolving, whether we like it or not. The world is changing, whether we like it or not. Pretty soon, I won't say stuff that we used to do will be obsolete, but it's going to be pretty obsolete. I don't know how else to say it. And the language is one of the ways we keep ourselves rooted while moving forward. So if you have a definition for something, you'll be able to recognize it when you move forward. So I want to talk about adapting your magic, and that's where I'm getting into turning old, well, not really turning old into new, transferring the old into the new system, into the new method. Why you call it clout work? Because they doing it for clout. I didn't know what else to call it. And if you are just coming in here, this is a theory that I wrote a couple of years ago after I watched American Gods, and they were talking about how the humans basically were worshiping technology and they created a new god. That's where this theory came from, me watching a TV show. And then here lately, a bunch of my clients have been complaining about when they go live, they feel drained. Weird stuff is going on in their life, and then I would give them a reading or something like that, and it would be like a spiritual vampire, somebody watching them online, something like that. And so I decided to mix that theory with my clients' issues to teach them how to protect themselves and how to actually use this theory to their advantage, basically. Yes, American Gods was really good. It really was. I only watched maybe 5 episodes. I'm not going to even lie to you. I need to go find it so I can finish it. I just don't watch a lot of TV at all. So, magic is not a frozen artifact. It's living, breathing force that evolves with the world around it. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about evolution, not erasure. Force that evolves with the world around it. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about evolution, not erasure. So just like fire, it changes form based on its environment. What was once passed hand to hand under the moonlight, written in hushed tones and guarded prayers, now moves through fiber optics and radio waves. And in that shift, we're being called to not abandon our roots. I don't want to say that, but to replant them in a new soil. So you need to still keep your roots, but you still need to be aware that this type of magic actually exists now, so you can protect yourself. And if you do want to engage in this type of magic, you can. I'm not really well versed in it, so it's not something that I'm into. I prefer my plants, my roots, and things like that to technology. I can barely use TikTok. So this is for all of you techno nerds. There is a magic for y'all. So adaptation is not optional. It's actually a requirement for evolution. And without evolution, your magic becomes stale, dormant, not because it's wrong, but because the current is it was written for no longer exists in the same way. Energy has changed. The Earth's magnetic field is shifting. Our devices are pulsing with signals. Our brains are repatterned by screens. And we now swim daily through a current of Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cellular waves, and artificial intelligence. I want to show y'all 2 books at the end of this that y'all need to read. So that is not neutral energy. That is actually active energy. And whether we use it consciously or not, it's influencing every spiritual act we perform. If y'all, especially if you're on spiritual TikTok, you see it every day. Oh, okay, I thought someone said something. Where was I? So that is not a neutral energy, it's active energy. And whether we use it consciously or not, it is influencing all of our spiritual acts. That's where I was. In today's world, your spell might reach faster through a voice memo than a petition paper if you are a technomage. And if the Ashe and intentions are not properly aligned, whether you are techno or not, it will not move. So you still have to have intention, you still have to have Ashe to use these teachings. So adapting your magic doesn't mean losing your tradition. I want y'all to keep that in mind. It means translating it. Just like our ancestors translated ancient African cosmologies into the soil of the South and created hoodoo, mixing psalms with root work, spirit with scripture, secrecy and survival. We are too being asked to become spiritual translators. We are not dishonoring the old ways by updating them. We are keeping them alive by making them workable within today's terrain. With that being said, do not post everything. Not every ritual is meant to be posted. Even the spirits have adapted. Many now show up through dreams triggered by sound frequencies or appear in live streams when the veil is thin and high and the intention is high. We've seen evidence of this when people experience synchronicities after posting a prayer, or when a ritual shared online pulls thousands into an energetic vortex. The highway they travel are different now, but the spirits still move through frequencies, still move through energy. Spirits are actual energy. So that means that they can travel through, also travel through media. Your phone is not just a device. It can be used for spiritual work. It can become a portal, a mirror, a journal, an altar, a weapon, or a shield, depending on how you see it. If y'all notice, some practitioners have filters on their face at all times. I know y'all have noticed some practitioners filter their face every single time they post. They have something covering their eyes, or they just have a complete face filter. This is why they do it, because they know that technomages and spiritual vampires actually exist online, and they know how to suck your Ashe. So, in the age of hold on. Where was I at? Oh, okay, I see. I put that down twice. Okay, so before we move to the next section, I printed one section out twice. It confused me. Did anybody have any questions? And as I said, this is a super short class. We got two more sections after this one. Okay, yay. Thank you so much. So, in the age of the internet, energy no longer stays where it's placed. It ripples, it loops, it uploads, it gets reshared, rewatched, and redirected over and over again. Energy today is amplified and moved through attention. The moment someone pauses on your post, your face, keep this in mind, y'all, or your ritual or an energetic transaction has occurred. Whether they're admiring, envying, judging, or silently agreeing, something has been exchanged. This is the spiritual economy of the digital age. So attention, and I'm not saying intention, I'm saying attention with an A, is currency, and admiration is fuel. In some traditions, we'd call that the soul or the Ashe. In science, we call it the transference of energetic focus. And it's real, it's measurable, and it's deeply consequential if you do not protect yourself. We live in a world now powered by electromagnetic fields, Wi-Fi, I keep saying Bluetooth because that's a big one, cellular data and digital signal pulses surround. Hold on, live making me do the puzzle thing. Okay. And digital signal impulses surround us every day. And the human body is not separate from that system. We are bioelectrical beings. I say that a lot. Our nervous system transmits information through electrical impulses. Our hearts and our brains emit electromagnetic waves. So when you interact with a device, and this is why a lot of people carry shungite with them at all times, because it blocks the interference of frequencies from your phones and other things that are around you. Just a fun fact, buy some shungite. So when you interact with a device and when your image is broadcast through it, that's not just data moving, that's frequency entanglement. It's your energetic signature becoming visible, accessible, and interactive in a way that it was never before, because this type of technology did not exist when our ancestors created these practices. When we talk about admiration, scrolling, and attention as spiritual exchanges, what we mean is the energy is being consciously or unconsciously transferred. A follower is not just a number. They are a person pouring attention into you. And where that attention goes, and I'm saying attention, not intention, goes, energy flows. The more followers, viewers, or likes you attract, the more spiritual weight your energy field is carrying. Whether it's admiration, projection, expectation, or envy, that energy needs to go to somewhere. If you don't have a system in place for transmuting or recycling it, you become energetically bloated, spiritually drained, and in some cases, psychologically or physically unstable. Too much digital spiritual exposure, and this is for spiritual TikTokers, people who are always on spiritual TikTok, especially without grounding or protection, can distort the mind just as much as it drains the spirit. When constant admiration, praise, or perceived spiritual authority becomes the norm, it actually opens the door to what we call spiritual psychosis. This is a state where a person begins to confuse their preconceived influence with divine infallibility, meaning they think they're invincible, that their word is law, because they have so much admiration. People praise them so much that they start to believe that they're higher than the people that's following them, and that is what we call spiritual psychosis. They believe that they're above correction. They believe that they're above community and even above spirit, especially if they already had narcissistic tendencies. Like if they're already a narcissist, follower counts can feed them easily. And they will go into a spiritual psychosis. And in this spiritual climate, because algorithms reward confidence and not character, it's easily done. Like Kanye, yes. Yeah. He's definitely, I don't know. I want to keep my opinions about him to myself. I still love his music, but yeah. Something is going on with them for sure. So, where was I? Oh, the more that that energy is fed, the more someone may believe that they're channeling God, when in reality, they're actually echoing their ego. This is not elevation, it's actually inflation. And over time, it can disconnect even the most gifted practitioner from true guidance. That's why you have to watch how you interact with the internet. That's what I'll say. Because this can happen to anybody. Spiritual psychosis can happen to anybody. This is why we're seeing a rise in public altars, live streamed rituals, which you should never do. You never do that. And online spell casting. People are bringing sacred work into digital spaces because that's where the attention lives. And in many ways, the algorithm is the new spiritual world. It watches, it remembers, it responds based on your offerings. And this is where we get into AI. But what most people don't realize is that not everything sacred is meant to be seen. Public-facing magic changes the frequency of the ritual. Once it's being watched, it's no longer just for spirit. It becomes a performance, even if you're unintentionally doing it. That doesn't make it wrong. Like I said before, the algorithm is evil. There's no good and there's no evil. It does what you train it to do. So I want y'all to know it doesn't make it wrong. But it does require different types of protections, and that's what I want to teach y'all about. So one of the biggest things that happens when you are doing spirituality online is energetic leakages. It's the most common thing to happen, and it's often the least understood. So dangers of spiritual exposure online. The more you share without filtering, the more your power gets siphoned by those watching. And not everyone is watching with good intentions. Some watch to imitate. Just a moment. Jeremiah. Jeremiah, turn your tablet down. I don't know why he turned his tablet all the way up and then gonna sit by my door. My bad. Hey Britt, how are you, boo? Royalty needs to be in this live because she definitely needs to be learning this, how to protect herself online and stuff. If she's not live right now, send her over here. So, hey, Shan. I almost said Chan. Because you're sharing codes that shift. Yes. So, where was I? So, some watch to imitate you, to discredit you, to monitor you, to feed off of your energy. This creates energetic holes in your field, which I talked about a couple of classes ago. Especially when you're not spiritually shielding your content or recharging after high traffic exposure. Over time, this kind of constant leaking can leave a practitioner drained, disconnected, or confused about their own magic. And then you start wondering, why is my magic not working like it used to? Why are my gifts... Okay, cool, Britt. Why are my gifts not working like they used to? It's because you have been exposed and people are literally draining you. Hey, Royalty. And then there's the spiritual consequence. Your spirits may stop showing up. Not because they're abandoning you, but because they were never meant to be paraded. Spirits move in alignment with trust, discretion, and respect. If you are constantly calling on your spirits for public displays, but never giving them the quiet reverence they deserve, they may go quiet, and some of them may not even return. So, and I'm talking about ancestral and spirit allies. They are protective by nature. They know when you are in too much spotlight, so they will withdraw to keep you from misusing your own power. So what does all of this mean? Right now I'm just telling you all of the negatives, which I probably should have moved the screen over here, my bad. This is where we are. All the negatives of being online with spiritual content. So what do I mean by all of this? It means that your energy is no longer yours. It's part of a system, an ecosystem of visibility, signal, frequencies, and attention. If you're going to do real work in this age, you must move with awareness, protect your face, guard your voice, know that every scroll, every like, every share is a ripple, and learn how to steal your energy, which I'm going to teach y'all how to do in a minute. Recycle your Ashe and build boundaries into your visibility, because in this new world, power isn't just about what you do. It's going to be about how you carry your presence through these currents right here. Anybody have any questions before I move on to spiritual leeches? I want to tell you how they work and how to protect yourself from them. You're welcome. Yes, royalty, you ruined it. Yes, you need to do glamour. You need to learn how to do glamour on yourself before you post. I should have known that you would come in here spilling knowledge. If y'all do not follow royalty, y'all need to. She be on some interdimensional shit that I'm not even on. So definitely follow her. Okay, so the siphoning of influence. And this is how energy is fed, imitated, and exploited in this age of frequency. So, admiration has become a form of spiritual currency, where we once offered prayers, oil, songs, and service to feed our spirits. Many now feed on views, likes, comments, and reposts. Attention has become energy, and this is literal. I'm being literal. There are people out there who post, hey, cuz, who post just to who post, hey, cuz, who post just to siphon your energy, your likes and things like that. They actually gain energy from that. Wonder why certain spiritualists have such heavy filters. Yes, they filter their eyes mostly. Most of the time it's their eyes only. They'll have those silver eyes or some type of filter on their face, and that's exactly why. I don't do the filters, but I do glamour, which royalty was talking about earlier. That's why when people say you need to protect your work or I'll post something, I don't know why people think I'm remedial. But every time I post something or they feel like it's too much information or something like that, they'll jump in my inbox, and I'm like, I've been doing this for a very, very long time. I always protect everything spiritually and physically. Like, my entire thesis that I was going to use to get my doctorates, it's copyrighted. So even though I'm teaching this stuff, if I find that somebody's stealing my shit to the extent where they're profiting off of it, I'm going to take them to court. And they're going to get they're going to get their ass whooped spiritually too, because I ward everything I post. Everything. People just don't know it. So, in this, where was I at? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, attention has become energy. That's where I was. And not just symbolically. I'm talking about literally, energetically, neurologically, and spiritually. When someone admires you, they are directing focused energy towards you. And when enough people do that collectively, it actually creates a field of power that they can either earn, channel, or steal. And when I say steal, this is when somebody sucks your energy, like you're interacting with them on a live or something like that. They are sucking more than they need. They're taking more than what you're giving them. Like when you comment to somebody, you're giving them a piece of your energy. Some practitioners know how to take more than what your comment is giving. Yes, spiritual vampires. Exactly. So when I say admiration is a spiritual currency, that means that your visibility now carries spiritual weight. Each like becomes a thread. Each follow becomes a connection. If you are not spiritually grounded, these threads start pulling on your spirit. You become overextended, saturated in the gaze of others, and that gaze, whether positive or envious, creates an energetic link with you and that person. And if you have multiple followers, it gets even worse. That's why I be telling people like, oh, your follower count going up. I don't want it to go too far up. I prefer to be TikTok's hidden secret for now. So that is why, because the more people who follow you, the more protections you're going to have to do for yourself. If you're not spiritually grounded, they're going to suck you dry. So make sure you are spiritually protected if you are doing spirituality on the internet. So in metaphysical terms, it basically opens up a channel. In scientific terms, it creates a neurological response, patterns that mimic addiction and overstimulation. And this is when we get into spiritual psychosis. And this is when you don't protect yourself before you gain a lot of followers. And in spiritual terms, it means that you become tethered to the field. You become tethered to the internet. Like you are actually addicted to the attention that you're getting. Where others siphon your Ashe, you know how others can siphon your Ashe just by being in your presence? People can now read your energy online and siphon it that way as well. An example of this is, think about the feeling you get when someone stares at you too long in a room. How does your body react? Anybody? When someone stares at you too long, what does your body do? You can read it through the... Yes. Royalty, so can I. Yes. The first answer tightens up. The hidden gem. That was the number one answer. Yeah, my hair stand up too. Yes. Your nervous system actually tightens up, literally. Even if they haven't said a word to you. That's energy awareness. Now multiply that by thousands of people watching your ritual online. Think about that. And if you're not protected, you're not sealed or spiritually shielded, every one of those viewers become a potential tether. This is why some spiritualists feel so exhausted after going viral. Even if it's not live, you just go viral and all of a sudden you're just tired. It's not just the workload, it's an unseen drain. Yes, look up annoyance. Yeah, I'm one of those people like, what the hell are you looking at? Like, what? I'm one of those who stare back. So, when your likes equal your life force, the danger becomes even more insidious. So, this is when you begin to rely on admiration as your main source of validation. So, your spiritual stability is no longer coming from spirit. It's coming from algorithm, and the algorithm doesn't care about your alignment. It rewards visibility. So the moment your Ashe becomes dependent on applause, you stop listening to the divine and start performing for the crowd. Your power begins to leak, your rituals become weaker, and eventually your spiritual identity becomes hollowed out by image and maintenance, or you will go through a spiritual psychosis. Hey, Big Foo, if I said that right. So, this is where psychic surveillance and energetic theft begins. And when I say energetic theft, I'm talking about spiritual vampires. Psychic surveillance is when people monitor you, not because they admire you, but because they want to access you. They watch your movements, your phrases, your aesthetic, your rituals, not to learn from you, but to replicate you. And this is when we get into destiny swapping. They spiritually case your work like someone watching a house they plan to rob. It may look like quiet admiration, but it's actually silent strategy. They are learning your flow, tracking your language, reading your energy patterns to determine how to move. And if they're spiritually sensitive just like you, they may even tune into your field when you're live, pulling on your energy like a leech before you even realize they've even entered the space. An example of this is a practitioner constantly notices that every time they post a certain kind of ritual or prayer, another page mimics it days later. This has actually happened to me. I will teach a class and I will see the exact same class advertised days later. This has happened to me multiple times. I've actually screenshot it. Lene is not in here, but I screenshot it every time this person does it, and I send it to Lene so I can keep, like, girl, I'm not tripping, am I? And she's like, nah, girl, this too many coincidences. But somebody is doing this to me right now. They even have the same candle color, same spiritual quote, same hashtags, no credit. They even use my fucking flyers. I was pissed off too. Anyway, no credit, no spirit behind it, just energy duplication. That is theft, not inspiration. That's surveillance, not synchronicity. Yeah, I've noticed that, yes, it's sad. Very sad. Mimicry is real. Oh no, block them. I do have them blocked on here now, but I still be watching them from my Instagram. I ain't gonna block somebody all the way because I gotta know. When you do what I do for a living, you take everything as a threat. You gotta follow up with everything. Yes. They do not care. They're bold. This person was actually my mutual before I blocked them. Like, you do not give a fuck for real that I'm going to see this. Anyway, this is the heart of copying rituals versus channeling Ashe. To copy a ritual means to repeat what you've seen without any spirit, without any permission, and without presence. It's a hollow echo. Channeling Ashe, on the other hand, comes from communion with spirit. It's not just about the look, it's about the origin. Ashe is personal, Ashe is rational, and it's a relationship. Just because you saw someone else's ritual online does not mean you are meant to reproduce it. Remember that. If you didn't receive it through spirit, you don't feel some type of connection to it, your ancestors didn't tell you to do it, or your own divine alignment doesn't align with that type of ritual, and you do it, you are not channeling Ashe. You are mimicking somebody's performance. An example of this is one person posts a candle ritual based on a download from their ancestors. Another person, trying to ride the trend, recreates the exact setup without asking their own spirits or doing any inner work. The second candle might burn, but it won't do anything because it wasn't fed. That's the difference between Ashe and aesthetic. Baby, leave. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I knew where it was. I put it there. Let me see. Where was I? Okay. So now we arrive to the most dangerous current of them all. Spiritual vampirism. This is when people feed off the energy of others without consent. And this is not just emotional manipulation. It's about energetic consumption. Vampirism is actually a spiritual gift, by the way. Just some people don't use it in the way that they're supposed to. So you might run into a spiritual vampire who actually knows that they're a spiritual vampire and they use their gifts the correct way and only when necessary. But there are those who do not. So it's not just emotional manipulation. Vampirism can look like someone constantly engaging with your content to pull your energy, asking for spiritual labor but never giving anything in return, or worse, claiming your work as their own and building their power by harvesting your frequency. And it's more common than we would like to admit. This is actually the most common type of practitioner that you need to watch out for online. An example of this is a person who watches your rituals, repeats your phrases, sells products using your language. This person I'm talking about is doing the same thing, like stealing my products and everything, and positions themselves as an authority based off of your spiritual downloads. You will feel drained. Their platform grows, but yours shrinks. It's the opposite for me because I know how to protect myself. You notice your Ashe is scattered and your spirits are quiet. That's not a coincidence. That's somebody feeding off of you. And it requires a spiritual boundary work and often deep cleansing to repair if it's gotten real bad. This section is not meant to create fear. I just want to create clarity. I want y'all to know that. I don't want y'all to fear any of these people. Because when you know how energy is being siphoned, you know how to protect yourself. Influence is not bad, but it is magnetic, so you will be drawing people like this to you no matter what. No matter what you do, you're going to draw people like this to you. That's why you have to be protected. And if you don't command that magnetism with discernment, others will use it to pull from you until there's nothing left. So guard your Ashe, be mindful of your mirrors. And remember, just because someone is watching you doesn't mean that they're walking with you. Any questions before we move to the positive side? The positive side of technomagick. Protect before you post or go live. Yes, exactly. Everyone is not, what is that, meat to go? But yes, you have to protect yourself at all times, before you go live and after. Oh, meant to go. Y'all should see my little shelf over here. I make so many spiritual baths a day. Like, I think I take maybe two spiritual baths a day, in the morning, at nighttime, and if I'm live, definitely going to take one before I go to bed. Yes, I'm teaching a class today. Okay, so the positives of digital magic and the age of frequency. So a wider reach of healing and ancestral knowledge. The internet is now a vessel for sacred transmission. Teachings that were once hidden, destroyed, or disconnected due to colonization and displacement are now being reawakened and recirculated, which is a good thing. Practitioners from across the diaspora, and I'm talking about African diaspora, can now find each other, reclaim traditions, and rebuild what they once nearly lost. Because if y'all didn't know this, hoodoo actually almost died. If it wasn't for practitioners like Zora Neale Hurston, even though she didn't do it the right way, the way that she did it was not okay. I don't agree with the way she did it. But if it wasn't for her publishing that stuff, hoodoo would have died. It was very, very close to extinction before she came along and printed that stuff. So, practitioners can now find each other, reclaim traditions. This is not just convenience, it's ancestral reconnection in real time. If it wasn't for the internet, some people wouldn't even know that hoodoo or these other practices existed. I had never heard of Ifa until I got online. So, frequency-based manifestations is faster. So, this is one y'all want to listen to. Because energy travels faster through light, signal, and sound, manifestations can actually be magnified when aligned with intention. You can embed your Ashe into a voice recording. This is when y'all see these viral affirmations going viral. Do you know how powerful that is for the person who created that affirmation? It's being shared over and over and over and over again by other people. Y'all are literally feeding those people. And not in a bad way, it's a good way. Okay, Big Foo. Okay, Big Foo. Do we know each other in real life, Big Foo? I don't recognize your screen name. I know royalty in real life. Okay, so oh, okay. So if you get an affirmation to go viral, that's going to do real good things for your life. So your prayer doesn't have to wait until a certain moon phase, it can actually ride the energy of a trend, a sound wave, or a live stream. For those who are spiritually attuned, the digital realm becomes an amplifier, not a distraction. So once you are aligned and in tune with yourself enough to where you won't let the fame or popularity go to your head, you can actually use the internet to amplify and magnify your manifestations. Like them old posts that had the frequency of playing. Oh, yes. Yes, those. There are more ways to code, hide, and protect your work. The digital world allows for more creativity in cloaking and securing your work. Silent posts layered with meanings, visual codes, and even hashtags become your spiritual language. Um, if you look at some of my posts, they'll have hashtags that are not popular. This is why. Magic can now be disguised in plain sight, moving quietly and effectively without needing to be loud. That is power. Number 4, community. Community, collective Ashe, and grid work. So spiritual people no longer have to practice in isolation. When groups of people unite their Ashe digitally, through collective prayer, digital altars, and mass intention settings. Like if you ever went to a live and there were multiple practitioners on there doing prayers and things like that, that's what we're talking about. They're amplifying it. You don't need to be in the same room to share spiritual power anymore. You can just go on live together. That is sacred evolution. Number 5, spirit is still present, and so are your ancestors. Your ancestors evolve with you. Many of them, especially the more elevated ones, are not bound to physical tools alone. They can actually ride Wi-Fi. They can move through video, especially if you have a recording of an ancestor or a picture of an ancestor you upload it online. They can show up in your algorithm. Spirit is not stuck in the past. It meets you where you are. And when you call them into your digital space with response and purpose, they can help amplify, protect, and deliver your message with precision. As y'all know, every year I post my brother who passed away, some type of poem, some type of anything like that. And I honestly believe that he's protecting my work. He is my protector. I post him a lot on my page, especially on my Facebook. So that's what I mean by spirit is still present, and so are your ancestors. Number 6, spiritual legacy can now be preserved. When you create online, what you create online can live beyond you. Your digital magic, when done intentionally, can serve generations to come. Your videos, your voice notes, your rituals, recorded in real time, these become spiritual texts for future seekers. Even if you are no longer here, they can still look up your videos. That is a divine inheritance in motion. So that's also something powerful. Thank you for the gifts. I was about to say something, but I forgot what it was. I probably was going to tell you a story. But basically, you can leave a legacy behind you when done correctly. A lot of people complain that I don't post enough or I barely post and things like that. It's because I have to protect my work before I post it. It takes a lot to create the videos and the graphics already, plus on top of glamoring my work before I post it. Yes, they are I archives. God. My bad, y'all. I have drank so much coffee that my mind is running faster than my lips. So that is why I keep stumbling over my words, because I am full of caffeine because I've been working all damn day since 4 a.m. this morning. I have been working and my brain is just like. But anyway, you're right. Divine archives. So, section 6. And I think this is. Did I skip a section? Oh, no. Okay. Anybody have any questions about that before I move to section 6? And this is when we're going to talk about digital practitioners. And I'm going to give y'all some examples of how you can use digital Ashe. And then after that, we're going to go over the last section, which is about how you can protect yourself. Any questions? I hope I can go to sleep tonight. And that's when we're going to go over the tools. I'm going to show you how to, uh-oh. I accidentally pinned your comment. Trying to zoom the screen out. We're going to go over these. I'm going to give you examples of how you can use all of these. Okay. I don't know how to unpin that. Oh, there we go. So, we're going to talk about skilled digital practitioners. Not everyone online is confused, performing, or feeding off of people. What is that? Okay. Something popped up. Okay. There is a growing group of practitioners who are quiet, powerful, and intentional, who understand how to work with digital energy the way old school workers learned to work with roots, wind, flame, and spirit. I'm an old school worker, but I do know some technomagics. These are the digital spiritualists who don't move for clout but for codes, who post in alignment with divine instruction, who speak only when led, and who protect their frequency with precision. These are the ones who have figured out that the internet isn't just a tool, it is a new realm. And like any realm, it has laws, entities, back doors, and openings. A skilled digital practitioner, which is a technomage, is the correct term for them, knows that energy moves not only through speech and ritual, but through signal, silence, rhythm, and algorithm. They use captions like incantations, they use photos like amulets, and even silence as a shield. They do not reveal everything, and that is their power. Where others leak constantly, these workers create intentional windows of visibility that serve purpose, not ego. Their Ashe is encoded, layered beneath the surface of post, embedded in color, timing, sound, or even what is left out. And this isn't just an aesthetic, it's an actual spiritual coding. These are the ones who know when to engage the platform and when to fall back. No. Sorry, somebody requested to join the live. They don't chase numbers, they actually build resilience. So some of them craft tech-based spiritual shields, rituals, and codes that cloak their names, likeness, and energetic data. They may use software, sound patterns, or even layered light frequencies to protect their space. Other work, Others work directly with their spirits to program their post, giving instructions on who should see what and when. Keep that in mind. You can actually not really train, you can actually work with your spirit guides or your ancestors as well to protect your online presence, especially if you do what I do. So they may use software, sound patterns, or layered light frequencies to protect their space. Others work directly with their spirits, giving instructions on who should see what and when, making the algorithm bend to alignment instead of desperation. That's not paranoid, because a lot of people think those type of people are paranoid, but they're not. They just know better. So in the digital realm, visibility becomes vulnerable if not protected, but skilled practitioners don't just post and pray. They embed their Ashe into every part of their presence, creating coded protections just like older generations would sew protections into their garments, or bury jars in the yard. Now that jar might look like a timed post, a certain sound, a series of colors, or even the silence between uploads. I don't know if y'all know who the rapper, I do not know how to say his name. Triple X, the one who passed away, or who was murdered. If you go back and listen to some of his recordings, he talks about this. He was extremely intelligent. I feel like he was taken out of here on purpose, because some of the stuff that he was talking about is some of this is of what I'm talking about. He used to talk about how he would actually code his music to certain frequencies to help people. Yes, that guy, Extension. I don't know how to say his name. My kids make fun of me every time I say it, so I'm not going to say it on here and embarrass myself. But he was very smart, and he actually used this, what I'm teaching now. So, coding your Ashe digitally means creating spiritual encryption, making sure that only those who are spiritually aligned are meant to receive the message can absorb the energy fully. Everyone else just sees pixels, or they don't feel any type of connection. Yes, Triple X. Yeah, my daughter was so hurt. Yes, it hurt my feelings too. I still listen to his music almost every day. Very, very intelligent guy. So, and this is an example. For example, a practitioner may code protection into a photo by adding sacred geometry patterns as overlays. If y'all can notice this in some of my videos too. That are barely visible to the eye but hold energetic intention. That means that y'all can put sigils, protection inside of your pictures and just change the what do you call it? What's that tool called? Transparent. The tool that makes it transparent. You can use that tool. Nobody will ever see it. That's one of the things that I do. So they can put it in overlays that are barely visible to the eye but hold energetic intention. Or they may layer the image with smoke, herbs, or oils from a ritual beforehand so that the spiritual residue becomes part of the visual frequency. When someone scrolls past that photo, they don't see just a picture. They enter a field, and that field has rules. Others who work with timing, they post during planetary hours or aligning with numerological sequences. So that was what I was telling you. He was telling me to post 8 minutes and 88 seconds after my peak hour, and I told y'all I did what he told me to do, and I sold the bracelet as soon as I posted it. So That's what I'm talking about when I say that. It allows them to ride the wave of cosmic Ashe. They may use captions that are embedded with affirmations or protection spells. Y'all will see me doing that all of the time. I have prayers in my captions sometimes. Written in plain sight but masked through metaphor or poetic language, which I do all of the time. I'm really telling on myself, but can't nobody use it against me. A sentence like "I'm covered in all directions no matter who's watching" may sound like confidence, but for a practitioner, it is a shield. More advanced workers may even code their spiritual team into their online presence. This means that, did you need something? Guess not. So this means that having like a conversation with their spirits where they say, if my image or content is shared outside of my alignment, cloak it. You can give instructions to your spirit. Confuse the eye. Let the energy bounce back if it's touched with malice. And yes, this works. It does work. People will click and feel absolutely nothing and scroll right past your video. Or they'll forget the post. Or they'll get confused mid-scroll. Spirits know how to protect if you instruct them correctly. In this context, coding your Ashe isn't about being secretive. It's about being so intentional that even your silence carries power. It's about creating spiritual conditions on everything you touch. Your image, your name, your words, your timestamps, your colors, your rhythm. It's about moving from reaction to architecture. Designing your presence instead of just existing online. Make sure every post is intentional. And that's why I don't post as much as other people. I might post 1 or 2, maybe 3 times a week. Because everything is intentional. We're not talking about digital magic as a trend. This is a new terrain. And skilled practitioners, they're not adapting it. They're actually mastering it. And I'm working on mastering it right now. I do not have it mastered. Some of this stuff, the numerology stuff, is extremely confusing. So I haven't mastered that part at all. In this new world, the line between digital glamour, which royalty said earlier, and divine resonance becomes clearer the more that you train your spiritual eyes. Glamour looks good but feels empty. It draws but doesn't transform. Divine resonance, on the other hand, hums through the bones. It doesn't need to perform because the frequency is enough. That's how you know who's really working, not by the performance, but by the pattern. I can spot a fake spiritualist as soon as I get to their video. I know immediately. I can tell by the vocabulary they use. I'm not going to tell too much, but I definitely can tell as soon as I scroll on their page if they are fake and if they're just performing. So, we're going to talk about digital tools for spiritual work and frequency coding. So, we're going to get to the tools that you guys can use. Any questions before I go over the tools? My Patreon, House of Medusa by Kye. If you go to the link tree in my bio, it'll take you to my Patreon. It'll take you to all of my social media, actually. You're welcome. So, digital tools for spiritual work. So, before you ever light a candle or whisper a prayer online, you must understand this truth. The tools of the digital world are energy. Every caption, every emoji, every image you post holds frequency. Every send is a signal. The digital space is not just where you express spirit, it's where you shape it. We are no longer confined to altars made of wood and stone. Today, your profile is your portal. Your voice is your vibration. Your content is your conjure. And every interaction you have, seen and unseen, carries Ashe. But I want to be clear about this section that I'm about to go over. I am teaching you the what, okay? Not exactly the how and not exactly the why. And that's intentional. I'm teaching you the science. Not the act. So it is up to you to fill in the blanks, but if you inbox me and I feel like your spirit is right, I will fill the blanks in for you. I'll just say that I just don't teach too much stuff publicly. But you don't have to pay me or anything. Just inbox me if you want to try one of these things I'm about to go over, and if I feel like your spirit's right, I'll tell you. Let's see. The power without understanding becomes performance, and ritual without foundation becomes mimicry. This isn't about giving you a script. I don't want to give you a script. It's about giving you awareness so you can decide with clarity and protection how to use these tools in alignment with your spiritual path, just like in the physical world. In digital realms, the digital realm has its own sacred technology, and when you use it with intention, you reclaim the internet not just as a platform, but as a power source. I will never drink this much coffee again before a class. So, we're going to start with captions. But I'm drinking a tea that'll bring me down a little bit. I just got to remember to keep drinking it. Here we go. So, how can you use captions? Anybody got any ideas? The class is almost over, Melly. After this section, I have one more section and the class is over. If anybody doesn't want to guess, I can just tell you some ways. Capital, yes, you can use capital letters. So you can use your captions by infusing written spells, which I do all of the time. Y'all should really pay attention to my captions. Nobody ever reads them. I don't know why, but y'all should really pay attention to them from now on. Trigger words, yes. Yes. Specific words. Yeah, you can make, I wouldn't say demands, you can make commands. Okay. Oh, you do read my captions? Yeah. I be having some gems in my captions if y'all pay attention. So, you put blessings in your captions, or you can use codes directly into your captions, like write in layers, like one level for the viewer, one level for the spirit, and one for the algorithm. You can also use numerology. You can do 3 lines for power, 7 for spirit. Or you can use sigil-based writing styles. Oh, so y'all do pay attention to my captions. Okay, nobody ever says anything, so I'll be wondering. So the spiritual role of captions is they can function as modern day petitions. This is where you make your petitions and your prayers. You put your intentions in your captions. Your voice on your page. They're also energy filters. What you say affects who shows up. So pay attention to what you say in your caption, because it will dictate whose algorithm it gets put on. Next, we can go to profile pictures, display images, things like that. You can choose symbols, colors, or sacred imagery that acts as spiritual sigils. You can't really see it, but in all of my pictures and all of my videos, there is a transparent sigil on everything. You cannot see it because I make it transparent. Like I put it over the entire video or the entire photo, and then I make it transparent. If y'all, I'm I'm not filling in all of the blanks, but just know that's what I do. Yes, you can put a Psalms verse. You can even do that on a picture and make it transparent. People just don't know because they can't see it, but it's on there. You can put an entire prayer on a photo and make it transparent. What else was I? Where was I at? Oh, okay. So you can also protect yourself by using cloaked visuals, which is what I just said. I just put it in a different language on this paper. But your profile picture is your digital mask or mirror. It's the first portal people encounter, so choose it as carefully as you choose what you wear to ritual. You never knew that? Yeah. I'm probably teaching some stuff that I probably should have kept, but it's only 33 people on here, so it's okay. And then you would have to pay to get the replay of this, so it's okay. That's why I like that I don't have that many followers, because I can actually teach, and y'all are actually helping me practice teaching by teaching online. We the chosen, it's all good, okay? So then we move to hashtags. Use intentionally to place your work in energetic frequency clusters. Create your own signature hashtag to spiritually tag your energy. If you pay attention to my hashtags, my name is mostly in some of them. There's a reason why I don't put it in all of them, but yes. So you can hashtag your own screen name, all of that. It's your energetic signature. Avoid overly saturated or cursed tags when doing serious work. So these are these tags that, like the FYP tag, you will never see me use the FYP tag, ever. You can scroll for years and you'll never see me use FYP in my tags. You invite so many unwanted energies when you use that tag. It basically puts it on everybody's algorithm, not the people that you want to see. And that's when you start getting trolls and things like that. Hashtags are frequency gates. They control who finds you and who doesn't. Think of them as vibrational GPS systems. Unless you are a person who wants to go viral. If you are a person who doesn't care who sees your page, you don't care how many followers you get, like you want to gain more followers, you can use the FYP. I'm not somebody who wants that, so I don't ever use it. I want whoever needs to see my content to see it. So I am very intentional about the hashtags I use. Lene! Welcome, Lene. You missed it, but I was talking about you earlier. Don't say the name, but I was telling them about the screenshot I sent of the person who keeps copying my classes like days after. Or if I announce my class, they'll hurry up and try to do a class the exact same name as my class. Like they'll name it the same thing. And I screenshot it and I sent it to her. Am I tripping, girl? Did you mention how to protect? I am about to. So we went over hashtags. Let's do voice audio. So you can embed your Ashe into spoken words, chants, and affirmations. You can choose background sounds with care. Sound carries coding. If y'all pay attention to, somebody actually said that. I don't know if it was it you, Too Lovely? Somebody actually said that to me, that I always choose the perfect music to go with whatever I am doing. That is very intentional. But they was like, you always have the best music on your videos. And it's because I'm intentional with them. I even pay attention to what the name of the song is to match the frequency of what I'm posting. Let's see. So the spiritual role of your voice is it's a sound wand. In the digital realm, audio becomes one of the fastest conductors of Ashe. Like I was saying, those affirmation videos that be going viral, y'all try to get one to go viral. You catch that every time? Yes. I am intentional. Every single thing I do, I'm a perfectionist though, but I'm a Virgo too. So we do things a little bit differently than other people. Very precise on how we do things. So then we get to video and face visibility. So wear white or specific colors for protection, which y'all see I do all of the time. My hair is covered in white right now. You can shield your energy before appearing on camera, which royalty told y'all to do. Like before you even get on camera, do a shielding. If you don't know what a shielding is, DM me, and if your spirit's right, I'll send you one for free. Set spiritual intentions before you go live and record. Always do that. You are a moving image, which means you are a living altar. Your face and your body is a vessel for divine transmission. Remember that. So it's very vulnerable if you leave it unguarded. Then we get to usernames and handles. Choose names with meaning. A lot of people don't know this, but Medusa stands for magic and enchantment done uniquely, safely, and affirmatively. It is also a name that was given to me during a spirit quest. It was a name that I was given. So not only is Medusa my nickname, it is also my business name, and I also created an acronym for it. So be very intentional about your names. With spiritual meanings, numerology, and ancestral ties. Avoid overly personal information unless spiritually sealed. My name means only certain folks. Yeah. Oh yeah, the hidden gem. I like it. And change your handle during spiritual shifts and rebirths. So if you and change your handle during spiritual shifts and rebirths. So if you are going through a spiritual shift, or you cut off all your hair, you go through one of those moments where you just shave your head, also change your screen name, your profile picture, everything. If y'all been following me for years, those of you who actually know me in real life, I completely delete my pages and start all the way over. When I go through a spiritual shift, I just delete the page. Or I will archive the page and create a whole new one and start all the way over from scratch. I've been doing that for years. I even changed my phone number. So, emojis and symbols. Use them as coded language. Like using the evil eye for protection. Using a candle to represent your ancestors. Things like that. You so ready to scrap that one? Don't. Well, if you do, make sure you add me on your new one. So emojis are modern day sigils. Each carries subconscious meaning and can act as spiritual shorthand for glyphs or the algorithm for your followers. And so then we get to stories and highlight posts. You can use digital altars or offering boards. And these are like highlighted prayers, photos. Like this is when you make the memes with the photos. Displays with a certain aesthetic, a certain prayer on it, maybe psalms, maybe testimonials. Because if y'all notice, I post a lot of picture content just as much as I post video content, and that is why. You can pin energy, clearing content of affirmations at the top of your profile. And if y'all notice, every single one of my lives are color coded. I don't know if y'all noticed that, and that I actually do that for a reason. So comments and replies. Respond with blessings, reflection, or redirection. Don't engage with trolling. It is an invitation to siphon your energy. I delete people immediately. I delete people immediately. Unless there are situations where I don't delete people immediately, like if I'm threatened, if somebody threatens me, please believe I'm going to investigate you for 7 days before I block you. And when I say investigate, I'm going to find out what your real name is. I'm going to find out what state you're in. I'm going to use some software to find out a lot about you. If I'm lucky, like I was recently, if I'm lucky, I will run into somebody who actually knows you in real life because we happen to live in the same place at one point. And I will find out everything about you, and then I will block you. Oh, you said you know, Chief? I will know all of your business, so I am the wrong person to threaten, trust me. So don't ever do that. Other than that, if you don't threaten me, I will just block you. I do not engage with trolls unless I find that it's a teachable moment and they need to be taught something. So, block people when necessary. That is a spiritual boundary, not an ego trip. Comments are energy exchanges. Every interaction is a micro ritual. You can be giving or receiving spiritual energy every single time you engage with them. Bio section. Your about me. Include your spiritual mission, encoded affirmations, or protective phrases. Link to trusted portals only. Your website, booking forms, things like that. Your bio is your digital introduction to the spiritual world. Spirits read energy too. And your bio tells them if they are welcomed or warned. So, any questions before I go over how do you protect yourself? And I ran out of room on my board, so it's not on here, but I did post the class materials, and it has an entire flyer about how to protect yourself in the class materials. And it has an entire flyer about how to protect yourself in the class materials. And it has an entire flyer about how to protect yourself in the class materials. Okay, so I don't see any questions. Let's move to protection, the last section, and it's not that long either. Well, that's a lie. It's almost not as long as the last section. So, spiritual, thank you for joining my fan club. Spiritual protection has always been a cornerstone to metaphysical practices, all of them. But the methods and the mediums we use must evolve with the world. The world that we're living in. So traditional shields were built for physical reality, protecting your body, your home, your altar, and your tools. They were designed in a world without the internet. Like I keep saying, our ancestors, when they created these traditions, they did not factor in that the internet was going to be created. Without mass surveillance, without the rapid energetic entanglement that we now experience every time we post, stream, or scroll, we are no longer just protecting ourselves from the physical realm. We are actually protecting ourselves from, I don't know what to call this realm yet. I haven't named it yet, so I'm just going to say data. Our images, our voice recordings, or our energetic footprints in spaces our ancestors never imagined. Maybe y'all can help me define what this realm is going to be called in this theory. So, the spiritual battlefield now includes fiber optic cables, screens, and signals. And if your protection hasn't evolved then you are unguarded in the very spaces where you are most visible. So let's begin why traditional shields aren't enough. When a root worker cleanses their home or bury protection bags on their property or do, the four corners ritual with the iron spikes, railroad spikes, um, they're establishing a frequency barrier between themselves and unwanted energy. But what happens when your face is shared across platforms, your voice plays on strangers' phones, and your name is whispered by people who you never met in the flesh? The law of vibration tells us that everything, thought, image, and sound carries energy. That means your online content is a living conduit of your vibration. Traditional shields don't cover that unless they are intentionally adapted to do so. And most new practitioners don't know to do this. This is why energy hygiene for your profile, photos, videos, and name is now a non negotiable. You must treat your digital presence like an extension of your aura. So every photo you post, every caption you write, every voice message you send is a part of your Ashe, and that Ashe can be touched, twisted, and tampered with if not protected. Energy hygiene means, and I did a whole class on energy hygiene. If y'all were there, it means checking what kind of energy you're sending out and what energy your device is pulling in. For example, before uploading a video, teaching a ritual, a practitioner may cleanse their phone with smoke or water, speak a prayer over their content. A lot of practitioners have a mirror facing their phone. I have a black obsidian mirror facing my phone at all times. Y'all, if y'all want one, you can get it on TikTok. They got them on TikTok. They may also avoid saying certain power words out loud in videos, choosing instead to allude, signal, or teach through story, which I do all of the time. I talk in circles, but those who get it will get it. Rituals to seal their likeness and spiritual data are especially important. This can be done through photos, usernames, and even biometric data like your voice. The same way people use to hide their true names from enemies, you may now want to use spiritual pseudonyms, create aura blurring filters, or performing face covering rituals before posting. One example is rubbing anointing oil over your phone screen. You can recite Psalms 91, declare that no enemy shall see me through this portal, blah, 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 things like that. These are just basic examples. You can also create graphic overlays, which I was telling you, that's what I do. I do the graphic overlays. Embed your photos with sigils of protection, things like that, prayers, things like that. That only your spirits recognize. These are modern day veils coded to block spiritual surveillance while allowing you to share your Ashe. Training your spirits to guard your online gates is also critical. Spirits are not stuck in old forms. I was watching a video of a practitioner. I know I'm getting off subject, but it made me think of that. She was basically saying that spirits are stuck on the land that they come from. A spirit can't travel. We have to keep in mind that these spirits are pure energy. And what is the internet ran on? Pure energy. These spirits don't follow the same rules that we do. They can get up, they can move, they can be wherever the hell they want to because they're energy. They're living in a different realm than we live in. It's nowhere near the same rules. But where was I? So spirits are not stuck in old forms. Your ancestors could ride in railroad tracks and through mail. They can ride in fiber optics and guard your voice through algorithms. But you must give them permission and you have to give them instructions. And you can do this at your altar if you want to. You can ask them directly. You don't even have to be at your altar. You can ask them to stand between me and those who scroll with wicked eyes, scramble my signal to those who mimic without reverence, distort my likeness in the mind of every thief. And you don't even have to say this directly to them. You can actually do a petition. Like I was saying, you could put this in your caption, you could put it on your photo or your video and just make it transparent so people can't see it. Like, that's what I do. I just make it transparent. Every single video I have ever posted on TikTok has a prayer. And you just can't see it. So, then comes the part that many people misuse or misunderstand. This is return to sender work in a digital space. And this is one of the things that I actually tried and it worked. There is a major difference between real return work and what I call performative mirror work. So real return to sender work is silent, targeted, and spirit-led. It aligns with the law of cause and effect. You identify the energetic breach, determine its source, and create a working to reflect it back. Not out of revenge, but correction. I actually did this on my page. Thank you for the gifts. It may involve candles, digital sigils, silent rituals, or server-bound offerings. In my case, it was in the form of a poem. I posted multiple return to sender poems. And if somebody goes through that video, it automatically, if they're on my page for the wrong reason, the energy is automatically returned to them. And you can put return to sender poems or whatever you want inside of your videos as well and make them transparent. It'll automatically work. So this creates energetic openings. The moment you post a spiritual working for attention, you actually invite people's Ashe into your working. You weaken the shield by allowing it to become entertaining. That's why you need to do it to where it's not visible. This actually violates the law of rhythm, which I went over in the last class, because you are disturbing the natural flow of protection by making it performative. So you do this stuff, you hide this stuff. So let's ground this with real world examples. So say a practitioner posts a powerful video about breaking generational curses and it goes viral. And I mean viral. They begin receiving hateful comments and spiritual attacks in their dreams. Instead of going live and announcing that they're doing a return to sender, they choose to move in silence. So what they do is they make another viral video, but this time they put a return to sender in the backdrop or in the caption. However you decide to do it. If I were you, I would put it on the video and I would make it transparent. That's the best way to do it. This time, when they go viral, there's less hateful comments. They can also add a cloak filter to their next post and change their posting time to the hour that aligns with protective spirits, usually 777. No announcement, no spectacle, but the energy clears. Like, they don't even go live. They don't talk about people being mean to them or nothing like that. They just, the next video, they post a return to sender. Their peace starts to return. Their content starts to flow again. That is what real protection in action looks like. Their peace starts to return. Their content starts to flow again. That is what real protection in action looks like. You're actually protecting yourself without making it a performance, without getting online saying, I'm going to return this to you, blah, 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 blah. So digital protection isn't paranoia, it's power. It's the new layer of spiritual hygiene required to stay safe. So, digital protection tools and techniques. I already did this. That's when you go to your captions, you put stuff in your captions, you can even hashtag return to sender if you want to, as long as the intention behind you putting that is to return to sender. You can use image filters and color grading. I've already said that, and that's when people actually filter their face or their eyes or something like that. You can use your emojis and your glyphs. I already told you that. Your your voice. And then I'm going to tell you something that was told to me by the technomage I was telling y'all about. So he basically told me that I can whisper my name and cut that section, like in the beginning of my video, whisper my name, cut that section off, and reverse it. And so it's actually saying my name in reverse before my video actually starts. And he said that when you do that, it misdirects tracking spirits, or monitoring spirits is what people call them. It will misdirect them automatically, and they'll just keep scrolling. Haven't tried it yet, but that is one thing that he told me to do. I'm going to try it and see what happens. I'm going to try it on Facebook specifically, because I can see who all views my stuff on Facebook. I can't on here. I turned it off. Silence is the perfect shield. Not posting or holding back parts of your process is one of the most powerful digital protections. Facial blurs, cropping your head out. If y'all notice, there are some people who go live and they will have just the bottom of their body in the screen. I've seen a couple of people do that. Shadow accounts or decoy pages, you can just make a blank account, never showing your face, but who wants to do that? Watermarks or Ashe seals. So I have a lot of protective watermarks in all of my stuff. As I told you before, y'all just can't see them because I made them transparent. And then you can use music or sound overlay. And an example of this is like 528 hertz. If you layer a video under that, it's actually abundance seal, and it can actually activate your post. So if you are monetized, I'm not monetized, but if you are, post a video with 528 hertz and tell me how it goes. So technology is not an enemy, even though it sounded like that when I first started. I just wanted to tell y'all the risk before I told you the benefits. In fact, it's one of the most powerful spiritual mirrors we've ever had access to, but mirrors reflect both what is divine and what is distorted. So in this new era of instant access, constant exposure, and curated digital lives, we must remember that our Ashe is not meant to be poured out for praise or diluted for popularity. Your Ashe is sacred, and sacred things require boundaries. You don't need to fear this age of screens and signals, but you do need to respect its reach. Every post is a portal, every photo carries frequency, every view is an exchange. So if you treat your presence online with spiritual neutrality, don't be surprised when you feel spiritually depleted. The spiritual law of vibration reminds us that everything has a frequency. I keep saying that. And that is also animism as well. The law of vibration is the same thing as animism, just a scientific term for it. And the law of cause and effect tells us that all energy sent creates a ripple. That means every time you go live, comment, post, or scroll, something is being activated, even if you don't realize it. There is real power in silence. There is magic in restraint. And there is a divine strategy and attention. Just as our ancestors whispered prayers in cloth dolls and hid sigils in quilts, you too can encode your work, hiding your Ashe behind words, color, timing, and rhythm. Everything doesn't need to be public. Everything doesn't need to be seen. Sometimes the most powerful workings are the ones that you never speak about. So stay rooted, stay discerning, let your roots grow deeper than your reach, let your work expand, but let your soul remain tethered to spirit. And that is the end of the class.